now it's time for the HotS debate. And we're going to let little Cho'Gall bring us into this one.
Are you prepared for the battle to come? You may have the bronze, brother, but I've got the brains. We both know that's not true. I don't.
And with that, the two heads of Cho'Gall today are going to be Daz and Shiz. So what we're doing is we're trying this new segment. It was suggested to us by Lobster Special on Reddit. And we thought it was a great idea, so we thought we'd try it out. So here's the format for the debate. We're going to be debating a topic. The topic is teams drafted for team fighting are better off than those drafted for map objectives. I'm going to be defending that statement, so I'm agreeing that teams should be drafted for fighting, team fighting, are better. And rebuking this topic is going to be Shiz, arguing that teams drafted for map objectives are better. Shiz has been dying to do this debate. I mentioned a little while ago I thought we were going to bump it because this episode was getting long, but you know what? We're going to do it. Moderating this is going to be Liquid. And deciding on who wins, we're going to put it to a Twitter vote. So we're going to put up a poll on Twitter. As soon as this is done, you can go on Twitter, come to our Twitter feed at the Nexus Trolls. And again, there's going to be a link to that in the show notes. And you can vote on the poll. And whoever loses the poll, next week, they're going to have to eat jalapeno peppers throughout the whole news segment.
No, they're going to be hotter than jalapeno peppers. I'm getting you the hottest shit ever.
He's going to be FedExing me some peppers from Mexico that are going to put... You know what? I'm going to be shipping you hot peppers from Mexico. I'm going to win. I don't want to start off with you assuming there.
You already know how this is going down.
But, ladies and gentlemen...
What's left to moderate if you already know who wins?
Next week is our PTR patch drop week with Ragnarok, so we've got a lot of news. So there's going to be a lot of peppers in that bowl in front of Shiz. So this is, by the way, this is not a novel idea we came up with eating the peppers. This is in honor of Dunk Trade and Zoya, who had to do this for, I think it was reaching a stretch goal on Twitch or something along those lines, where they did this on stream while casting a game. And it was pretty hilarious, one of Shiz's favorite videos, and we're going to be honoring them by doing the same kind of, like, whatever you want to call it, penalty in this case. So the format for this, the defense, that's me. I'm going to get 2 minutes to argue my point. Shiz is going to get 3 minutes to argue his point and rebuke my points. Then I'm going to do a 1 minute rebuttal as well. After that, the moderator, Liquid, is going to be asking both of us a question, starting with me and then Shiz. Just kind of follow-up questions. We're going to have about a minute to talk about those. And then there's the closing arguments, 30 seconds to kind of sum up your case. And that goes from defense to first. So I'll start with that. Then Shiz gets to close the show. And each side gets one audible. So me and Shiz can throw an audible whenever we'd like to interrupt the speaker for up to 10 seconds. So, Liquid, do you have your timer ready? Because you're going to have to start timing these.
I do. I am ready to go.
Okay, so I get to start this. And I have not debated since grade 7, which was a long, long time ago. We'll have to see if this segment works. If it does do well, we're going to make it a regular segment. So, fingers crossed, we can hold this. We can make it a good segment. Ready on the clock there, Liquid?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to get started. So... what I want to say first is I feel sorry for Shiz for having to debate against me here, because there's really only one true answer to this question or this topic. Teams drafted for team fighting are better off than those drafted for map objectives. That's a simple fact. There's no debating this. I don't even see what Shiz is going to say here that could possibly sway any of your minds, because generally there's two ways that you can win at Heroes. That's team fighting, wiping the other team post 20. Everyone knows you go core as soon as that happens. Or objectives, right? You have objective-based objectives that can push to win the core as well. So what I say is team fights trump everything here, because if you can team fight effectively at an objective or before an objective, I know, and Shiz, you know this too, you'll never go to, say, a tribute at Curse Hollow if you're down a man. If you've drafted properly for team fighting, you can go into that objective having the one there.
I'm gonna audible right there.
Go ahead and use your audible.
You do go in. We'll say Curse Hollow, 5v4 situation. You're down a man, right? You just said that. My other guy's split pushing on the other side of the map with a Dahaka, right wing.
That was your 10 seconds, sir.
10
so
seconds.
as I was saying, you do not go in if you're down a man. That's when you give it, or in a very dire situation, you go in to contest the objective because you're about to lose the game. Why are you about to lose the game? Because you lost in the team fights. What happens at objectives? Team fights. Even when you're trying to burn down the objective. See, like a battlefield of eternity. If you go in, everyone does a little defense thing. As soon as someone gets the one man advantage, 2 man advantage, that's when you go burn the immortal down and take it. You don't necessarily even need to take your Sylvanas, for instance. I know Shiz is going to come back and say, well, what about Sylvanas? You know what? Sylvanas is great if you get the objective. How do you get the objective? By winning the team fight. You don't want to decrease your chances of winning that team fight by compromising in a way that you're going to potentially do well if you get the objective. You need to make sure that you get the objective by winning those team fights in every situation, every map. Okay, go ahead, Shiz. You got your 3 minutes.
I can't wait to tear you up. All right, every map you're always drafting for the objective. Cursed Hollow, you're taking globals, you're taking people who can win bosses and push them off. Falstad, Tyrael, all of those are objective based. You're going to poke them out. Abathur, anybody who can split push and you can delay an objective, that is exactly what you're drafting for on all of those maps. Anyone who says that they're going for somebody who is never going for the team fight is completely wrong. You always want somebody who's always strong for pushing the objective, stalling the objective to further your team strategy, okay? Again, he said it right. Sylvanas. They had to take an entire map out of rotation because of Sylvanas. Haunted Mines got a complete rework because Sylvanas was if you got her, you won the map. Point blank and simple. Sylvanas won that map by herself, essentially. Also, you're also drafting for vision. Every big map, you always go for globals. That's always objective-based driven because with those globals, you can do things like split pushing, gaining the experience in soaking, delaying objectives so this way you're getting more experience and getting yourself that early lead to 10 to win. Even if you are drafting for objective. Go ahead.
I gotta say quickly, just going for globals and trying to get lane soak, that's not talking about objective-based fighting here. That's not drafting for the objective. That's drafting for like a lane. It's a completely different subject here. We're talking about team fighting versus objective.
Okay, so you're going to tell me Abathur, stalling for that. That is a split soak comp right there. Abathur is purely a great example for that. That is an objective-based thing right there. We're not saying Illidan. We're saying just stalling so Abathur can soak and get into the late game and win it and push lanes out, and so this way you're losing on soak. Another thing, the split pushing. And then with getting the experience lead, making sure that you can snowball maps. And if you are objective-based, you can snowball maps. If you can go objective and secure a lot more gems, we'll say Tomb of the Spider Queen. Asmodan is great for that. He is purely objective-based on that. You don't even go in and fight. You just soak the lanes, get them damage, do damage, stop them from turning in, secure your turn-ins, push lanes out. There's a reason why Zul's so strong. Sylvanas is so strong. Alarak, every comp needs a solo laner because they can push people out of the lanes and hold the lane on their own and push people out. That's all objective-based driven right there. Split pushing. Another big example is Zul. Like I said, Zul wins maps by himself. Another objective is the Immortals, Infernal Shrines. You always go for wave clear on that. You always go for the split soak. You always go Sylvanas, Kerrigan. There's a reason these people are so strong on these maps. Even Sonya, they win the maps by themselves because they're so strong at the objective. They enhance, yes. Do they enhance the team fighting? Yes, but that's because of the objective that they're able to thrive in and what makes them so strong. Another map. You said team fighting wins you objectives. What about Blackheart's Bay? You can ignore team fighting altogether, go around and split soak, jungle, and make sure that your team has to defend the turn-in because you're stacking gems on one person, so they're forced to wait at the turn-in and make sure that they get...
Sorry, that's time. So Shiz is talking about specialists here, and one thing that... there was actually quite a big Reddit post recently put by... I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the top players in the Masters. I think he reached #1 Grandmaster last season. He was saying that something like Asmo is a noob trap. If you're trying to push as Asmo or push as Azul, if you're a competent player, you'll be able to rotate... Yeah, it was Stray. We'll be able to rotate in, and you can... and a competent player, a competent team can counter those. So I'd argue that Asmo and Zul stalling out, trying kind of soak XP while your team does the objective. First off, that's not really drafting for the
Then why
objective.
do
That's
you
drafting to
audible?
avoid the
Audible.
objective.
You
You already use your audible. Kerrigan is a team fighter, sir. Yes, there are a lot of team fighters that are great at objectives too. I'm not saying you ignore the map objective. I'm making sure that you don't compromise on drafting for you don't compromise your team fight potential by going for map objectives. Blackheart turn-in. How many times have you seen that that poor Li Ming coming with 24 coins? You gank her at the turn, you get all her coins because you had a competent team fight, and you do the turn in there. The game is one of those turns as well, sir.
All right,
That'll be time. Wait, no. You don't get to talk.
That's
You don't
fine.
get to talk.
No,
Hold
that's
on.
fine.
This is Liquid's follow-up questions.
Hold on.
Liquid, go ahead.
Hold on.
All right.
All right. So two things. I'm gonna ask you a question in a minute, but first of all, Shiz, you have to be quiet during your turn. I got to do my moderator duty, man. You got to be quiet when it's not your turn. Okay. Let's see. Who am I asking first? I'm asking the defense first. Okay. So I'm actually going to ask you both the same question because Shiz kind of stole my thunder a little bit thinking about this debate, and that is Blackheart's Bay. I think Blackheart's Bay is the greatest example of where drafting for the objective is more important than the team. However, the point that Daz started to make as he ran out of time is a valid point with Li Ming going in with the 24 coins. So I want to give you both 30 seconds to tell me why Blackheart's Bay and the way you're looking at it is the correct way. And we'll start with Daz. Go.
It's a turn. You can get as many coins as you want. If you can't turn those in, you're not going to get the turn in to get the cannon to fire, right? How many times do you have? It's at least once a game. You're going to have that turning point right around the turn in, that team fight where whoever wins that team fight gets all the coins, they get the turn in, and it snowballs from there. You don't necessarily have to have all the junglers. You just have to be able to win that initial fight. As we all know, Blackheart's Bay is one of the most snowballing maps there is. And that's as simple as it is. That's the way it works. It always comes down to team fighting and not necessarily map objectives.
Okay, that was 30
All right,
seconds. Go.
Yeah.
My
I know.
follow-up. If I can make
Internal
you fear
clock.
If I can fear you the turn in every time, and you're wasting members to sit there and baby that turn in, I'm gonna win the pushing in other lanes on the map. I don't even have to turn in if I don't want to until you show otherwhere on the map. Say I grab top bruisers, push that lane out. You have to respond to that. As soon as I see you responding to that, I can have my one person do the turn in. Are you gonna take the fight down a man and lose doing that? That's fine. I'm going to keep pushing my objective in. And then the minute you show, I can back off.
Closing remarks. I'm going to start now. Blizzard calls this a hero's brawler. Blizzard has this vision of the game that it's team fight based. They want the team fights to be the kind of key focal point for the game, and that's why it's important to keep in mind that drafting for team fights is important because it does win games no matter how you look at it. At the objective, not at the objective, having that advantage in the team fight is going to win you the games more often than not.
Why is it, my closing arguments, why is it that when we're always watching a pro scene, that our casters, our beloved Dreadnought, who we all can agree, do you agree that Dreadnought is very capable in understanding of this game?
My time's done.
Okay. I would say that he is very capable in this game and that he knows how to play the game, and he is always talking about how people do not draft it for the objectives, or that's where they are going to lose because they cannot push their objectives out and not secure those objectives, and they have to let them go on all these different maps where objectives are so strong. It's not just a few maps where objectives are strong, but it's all the maps where objectives are strong.
You're out of time, man.
Okay, that was an interesting segment, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? I had a lot of fun. What we're going to do
more
now,
time to debate.
We do. Next time, maybe we'll shift up a little bit because, oh man, does that 2 minutes ever go fast? So I've just posted to Twitter who won the debate today on the Nexus Trolls. You guys can go in and vote. Shiz or Daz, head over to @the_Nexus Trolls and cast your vote accordingly. This poll is going to be open for 3 days. And remember, the loser next week is going to have to eat a whole bunch of jalapeno peppers during the news segment, which is going to be a big one. So I'm expecting Shiz to have a big bowl full of peppers sitting in front of him next week. So make sure you get out and you vote on Twitter for whoever you think won. Again, Daz, who was defending the argument there, or Shiz. And guess who already got the first vote? Daz has already got a vote.
Yeah, did you vote for yourself?
I haven't even voted for myself yet.
Oh,
I've been too busy talking. I wanted to make sure I got the first vote. I was about to go vote for myself, but I didn't,
Did you text
sir.
your brother and tell him to do that?
See, okay, so remember who sets the podcast here. Make sure you vote for the right person. But no, honestly though, but vote for whoever you think did the best. I'm sure we're gonna have lots of these debates in the future.
I do want to hear who our moderator thinks that won that. I do want to hear his thoughts.
So,
rate it.
Invoking the hollowed name of Dreadnought is an interesting play, and I will leave it at that.
That was an interesting play. Way to have to pull out that like emergency card at the end. Shiz couldn't argue on his own. He had to get a friend to come and help him out.
I just used that they're facts and supported.
Either way, we'll see who ends up winning. I don't think that's going to be enough, even evoking the much beloved Dreadnought. So again, head over to Twitter, vote for whoever you think is going to win, and look at that, 3 votes all for Daz so far. Not saying anything, but that third one was for myself, so I'll give myself that one.